We, representatives of Uganda and Tanzania, pro-democracy movements, civil society actors and human rights defenders, express grave concern over the worsening human rights situation and blatant disregard for national, regional, and international legal frameworks across East Africa. Following the October 29, 2025 electoral process, Tanzania has entered a severe constitutional and humanitarian crisis. The election was marked by widespread violence, including the massacre of thousands of civilians, one of the darkest periods in the country's history. Reports of mass graves and systematic cover-ups demand urgent, independent investigations to establish the truth, identify victims, and ensure accountability and non-repetition. We further condemn the ongoing wave of abductions, enforced disappearances, extrajudicial killings, and the use of horrendous methods of torture across the country. Since March 17, 2021, over 300 individuals, primarily opposition members, journalists, and activists, have reportedly been abducted, with many still missing. Many remain unaccounted for, leaving families in anguish and fear. These individuals are apart from the thousands reported missing between October 29th to November 5th, 2025, who are assumed dead and allegedly buried in mass graves and disposed of through various despicable methods.
Chadema chairperson Mr. Tundu Lissu remains arbitrarily detained at Ukonga Maximum Security Prison under conditions that violate domestic and international standards. Despite the ruling by the United Nations Working Group on Arbitrary Detentions calling for his immediate release, the Tanzanian government has not complied. He is held in prolonged isolation with restricted access to family, legal, and medical care in violation of international prisoner treatment standards, including the United Nations Standard Maximum Rules for the treatment of prisoners. In Uganda, the state has descended into a full-blown region of terror following the 2026 general elections, a process stolen at gunpoint through unprecedented military interference. General Yoweri Museveni and his son, General Muhoozi Kainerugaba, have unleashed a brutal crackdown on the citizenry. This family junta has turned the country into a garrison state where the military has superseded all civilian authority. Over 2,000 National Unity Platform supporters, activists, and journalists are currently rotting in safe houses and military dungeons under the direct command of General Muhoozi Kainerugaba. These detainees are subjected to gruesome torture and dehumanizing conditions for the crime of demanding democratic change.
As a region, we issue this as an early warning to Kenyans. The patterns of democratic backsliding seen across our neighbors are neither abstract nor distant. They are instructive. In Uganda, the consolidation of family power, collapse of the judiciary, and prolonged legal persecution of opposition leaders, such as Dr. Kizza Besigye and many others, some who have been in pretrial remand for up to 20 years, I believe, some even reaching 28 years, others 5 years in pretrial remand. Marked by repeated arrests, court appearances, multiple bail denials, shows how judicial processes can be stretched to wear down political challengers. In Rwanda, a tightly controlled political environment illustrates how sustained limits on opposition and expression can become normalized over time. In Tanzania, restrictive laws on media, online content, and public assembly have quickly demonstrated how quickly civic space can be narrowed under the banner of stability, and how mass violence can be emboldened with impunity. A devastating reality that Kenyans have experienced and must take firm action to prevent a recurrence.
To the governments of Tanzania and Uganda, we demand the immediate and unconditional release of Tundu Lissu, Dr. Kizza Besigye, and all political prisoners languishing in both civilian and military custody. To the Ugandan regime, immediately cease the harassment of NGOs and freeze all civil society bank accounts and withdraw the repressive sovereignty bill. Stop the unconstitutional trial of civilians in military courts. 3. To the Tanzanian regime, we call for the immediate cessation of abductions and forced disappearances, sexual torture, and all forms of political persecution in both Tanzania and Uganda. We further condemn the escalating and horrendous violations of women's rights, including sexual abuse, gender-based violence, and the targeted humiliation of female opposition members, activists, and journalists, acts increasingly used as tools of repression. To the African Union and the United Nations, we demand an independent international investigation into the election-related massacres in Tanzania and the state-sponsored drone and forced disappearances in Uganda. Act upon new mandates to ensure full compliance with the African Charter on Democracy, Elections, and Governance, Treaty, and the international human rights obligations and standards. Number 5, to the international community, impose targeted sanctions, including travel bans and asset freezes on General Museveni, General Muhoozi Kainerugaba, Samia Suluhu, and their inner circle responsible for these crimes against humanity.
Free
Political prisoners.
people power,
Our power.
our power.
People power.